Don't worry, I will pay for you.
The card machine beeps once, twice, 3 times. Declined. The sound cuts through Freshmart like a blade. Every register nearby goes quiet. Conversations drop mid-sentence. A toddler stops crying. The fluorescent lights above buzz louder, as if the store itself is holding its breath. The man at register 7 does not flinch. He wears a pristine white kandura, tailored to the millimeter. A black agal holds his gutra in place. His silver beard is shaped with precision. His hands rest at his sides, still, controlled, the kind of still that comes from knowing exactly who you are. His basket holds imported olive oil, organic dates, a specialty tea blend, 2 bags of chips. Total on the screen, $47.83. He reaches into his robe a second time. His jaw tightens. Not panic, confusion. "My apologies," he says quietly. "It appears I left my wallet." If you enjoy real stories that remind you what humanity still looks like, you are in the right place. Welcome. Stay with us. Behind him stands a woman in a navy blazer and heels, arms already crossed, jaw already set. She exhales through her nose like someone permanently inconvenienced by lesser people. "If you can't pay," she says without lowering her voice, "step aside." The line stretches back 7 people. Someone mutters. A man coughs. A teenager smirks without looking up from his phone. And Tahilya Rains, 29 years old, cashier, 4 days from rent, stands behind that register, watching the man's dignity absorb every second of it. Her bank account holds $312. Her mother's insulin doubled in price last month. Her hand moves to her apron pocket before her mind catches up. How many times do you walk past a moment that was actually meant for you? She pulls the debit card out before doubt can stop her. The card reader blinks. She taps it. 1 second, 2. The screen flashes green, and the receipt tears out with a sharp mechanical pull. Approved. The entire store goes still. Not polite still, held breath still. The kind that happens when something real breaks through a place built only for transaction. Checkout lane 6, the deli counter, all of it stops. The man turns and looks at Thalia the way people look at something they were not expecting to survive the day. "You didn't have to," he says. Thalia meets his eyes. "You looked like you needed someone to believe you." 8 words, no performance, no hesitation. His expression does not collapse into gratitude, it deepens, like a man who has searched a great deal of the world and just found something he had started to doubt still existed. He takes the receipt. He bows his head once, slowly, with the weight of someone who means it. "I will not forget this." He walks out. The woman in the navy blazer does not move immediately. She stares at Thalia, but the irritation is gone. What replaces it is colder, the focused clinical stare of someone running a calculation. She is not moved, she is measuring. Outside, the man pauses on the sidewalk. He turns and asks only one question. "Did you see what I saw?" She does not answer, but she saw everything. He was 19 the first time a card declined in a grocery store. Not $47, 11. A rotisserie chicken, bread, orange juice. Houston, Texas, August heat that made the pavement shimmer. The cashier looked at him without cruelty, just absence, like he was a problem waiting to be cleared, not a person waiting for help. No one stepped forward. The woman behind him sighed. The line moved around him like water around a stone. He put the items back himself, walked to his car, sat in 104 degrees, and made himself remember every second of it. Not the hunger, not the embarrassment, something colder, the silence of people choosing not to see you. He built his empire on one principle after that night, not leverage, not liquidity, one principle. Character is the only real collateral. Billions could be lost and rebuilt. Character, once revealed, never lied. Decades later, ports, energy contracts, real estate across 4 continents, a name that moved markets. He had never forgotten that August. Tonight, he recreated it. Not to punish anyone, not to reward anyone, to find out if the answer had changed. And the woman who had crossed her arms tonight had no idea what that answer was about to cost her. The wallet was in his pocket the entire time. It had been there when he walked in, there when the card beeped 3 times. He had felt the weight of it pressed against his hip, like a secret, the whole time. The woman in the navy blazer knew too. Her name was Celine Armitage, private equity, Manhattan. Her firm did not buy businesses, it consumed them. She had been touring Fresh Mart locations for 6 weeks, evaluating what she called human capital efficiency, which registers could be replaced by machines, which stores could run with fewer people, which managers were too loyal to their staff to survive the transition. Fresh Mart was in quiet talks to sell her firm a controlling stake. The deal was close, 9 figures on the table. Nabir had been considering placing hundreds of millions into Celine's fund, with one condition, a field observation. He wanted to see how the infrastructure she managed responded to small pressure. Not quarterly reports, real behavior, 6 in the evening, long lines, someone needing help. He walked into Fresh Mart on purpose. He let the card decline on purpose, and he watched. Celine folded her arms and told a stranger to step aside. Talia pulled out her last real money and said, "You looked like you needed someone to believe you." 2 responses, 1 moment. Only one of them was about to cost millions, and Celine still did not understand which decision had been hers. Talia sat in her car in the Fresh Mart parking lot for 22 minutes after her shift. She did not cry right away. She sat with the engine off, her own receipt on her lap, and stared at the number. $47.83. Gone. $312 left. Rent in 4 days. Her mother's prescription on Friday. She pressed her palms flat against her thighs and breathed. Then she cried. Not loudly, the kind that has nowhere to go, that does not ask for anything back. She had done something good, she knew that, and she was terrified it had been foolish. What if he never came back? What if generosity was just a tax the poor paid while the rich watched? What if dignity was not something that ever paid back? She replayed the moment, the silence in the store, the woman's cold stare, the man's slight bow. Something about all of it unsettled her in a way she could not name. She had almost not done it. Her hand had hesitated. Her stomach had said no. She had done it anyway. She started the car and drove home. She did not know that 3 days later a letter would arrive at Fresh Mart's corporate office. She did not know it would name her store specifically. She did not know the district manager would set his coffee down mid-sip and read the same line 4 times. What she knew was that she had $47.83 less than she could afford to lose, and she did not regret it. The fax landed on Darnell Hutchins' desk at 9:47 on a Monday morning. He had been mid-sip on his 3rd coffee of the day. District manager. 14 years with the company. He had seen acquisition rumors before, competitor sniffs, private equity whispers, the usual noise that came and went without leaving a mark. This was not that. He set the mug down, read the first line, read it again. Nabir al-Hadrami Holdings. His chair creaked as he sat back. The name sat on the page like a stone dropped into still water. Energy infrastructure, deep water ports, logistics networks across 3 continents, tech holdings that operated in 17 countries, a net worth that financial analysts estimated at $28.4 billion, and those were conservative numbers. The letter was 2 pages, precise, no filler, no flattery. It referenced one specific location by address, Register 7. Darnell read that part 4 times. His hands were not steady when he picked up his phone. Across Manhattan, in a glass-walled office on the 31st floor, Celine Armitage was already on a call with her legal team when her assistant slid a printed memo across the desk without interrupting. She read it mid-sentence. Her voice did not break. Her expression did not shift. But she ended the call. She had spent 6 weeks building this deal, 6 weeks mapping the inefficiencies, 6 weeks calculating which people could be replaced and which locations could be converted. She had been so close she could feel the commission in her hands. The memo said Nabir had contacted Freshmart's board directly, not her firm, not through her, directly. And the letter had named the store where a cashier paid $47.83 for a stranger. Celine stared at the window for a long moment. Then she understood. Nabir was not planning to buy the store at all. The black SUV pulled into Freshmart's parking lot at 10:23 on a Tuesday morning. 2 employees near the front window thought it was corporate. They straightened up, tucked in their shirts, checked their name tags. It was not corporate. Nabir al-Hadrami stepped out cologne. No assistant, no briefcase, no blazer. Just the white kandura, pressed sharp, and the same calm walk he'd carried through the door 5 days ago. He moved like a man who had nowhere else to be, because this was already exactly where he chose to be. Talia was running Register 3 when she saw him. Her stomach dropped to the floor. Fear hit first. Not excitement, not recognition. Fear. Her mind ran the replay instantly. Had she violated store policy? Was she about to be walked out? Her palms went cold against the register keys. He did not pick up a basket. He did not look at the shelves. He walked directly to her register and placed a sealed envelope on the counter between them. The line behind her had 3 customers. None of them moved. "Open it," he said. Her hands were not steady. The envelope tore unevenly. Inside was a folded paper, and beneath it a cashier's check. She unfolded the check first because her brain needed the smaller number before it could process the large one. $47.83, returned, every penny. Then she saw the number below it, $250,000. The store manager, Kezia Bowen, had been watching from the service desk. She covered her mouth with both hands. Beneath the check was a single printed page, formal letterhead, clean font. It read, Director of Community Impact, Nabir al-Hadrami Holdings, U.S. Division. Salary, $180,000 annually. Full medical benefits. Relocation optional. Coverage extended to 1 dependent. Her mother. Talia looked up. "Why?" she asked. His answer did not come fast. He let the silence sit for exactly 1 breath, the kind of silence that makes a room understand something large is about to be said simply. "Because when no one was watching," he said, "you showed me who you are." Celine Armitage walked through the Freshmart entrance at 10:51 that same morning. She had driven herself, no driver, no heels today, flat shoes, dark trousers, her blazer left in the car. She had known Nabir would be here. She had made herself come anyway. The scene at Register 3 had not ended yet. Talia was still holding the check. Kezia was still standing at the service desk with her hand over her mouth. The three customers in line had not left. They were watching the way people watch something they will describe to someone else for years. Celine stopped just inside the door. Nabir turned. He had heard her come in. He always heard everything. He did not greet her. He looked at her the way a man looks at a conclusion he has already reached. "The partnership," she said, keeping her voice level, "can still be restructured." "It cannot," he said. 4 words, no cruelty in them, just fact, the way a door is simply closed. He turned back to Talia and spoke for the room to hear clearly. He had acquired a minority stake in Freshmart's parent company directly. 3 conditions attached to the stake, non-negotiable: no mass layoffs, an employee profit-sharing program beginning within 90 days, full healthcare expansion across all locations. Talia would oversee the community impact rollout from the ground up. Celine's face did not move, not a muscle, but the employees who had been watching from the registers and the stockroom and the break room doorway, they felt the shift in the air the way you feel weather change before it arrives. The woman who had told a stranger to step aside had just lost hundreds of millions of dollars, not in a boardroom, not in a negotiation, in a grocery store, in front of people who earned $14 an hour. For the first time in a career built on leverage, Celine Armitage had nothing left to hold. And every employee in that store stood frozen, not in discomfort this time, in something that felt exactly like justice. 3 months passed. Celine's firm did not collapse overnight. That was not how these things worked. It was slower, the kind of erosion that starts at the edges and moves inward. 2 anchor investors quietly redirected capital. A partner left for a competitor. A profile piece in a financial trade publication used the word overexposed twice in the same paragraph without explanation. Word traveled the way it always did in private equity, not loudly, but completely. She had lost the Al-Hadrami commitment. That was the fact that could not be managed or reframed. In her world, that fact spoke for itself. On a Wednesday in late October, she drove to Freshmart alone. No blazer, no heels, a gray pullover, dark jeans. She parked in the back of the lot and sat in her car for 11 minutes before she went inside. Talia was not at a register anymore. Her office was a converted stockroom near the back, a desk, 2 chairs, a whiteboard covered in names and dates and dollar amounts connected by arrows, the healthcare expansion rollout, the profit-sharing structure, the community vendor program she had built from nothing in less than 90 days. Celine did not go to the office. She picked up a basket. She walked the aisles slowly. At the front, an elderly man named Cornelius was at the self-checkout. His card declined, his face tight with the specific humiliation of a person who has done nothing wrong and knows the line behind him does not care. Celine set her basket down. She stepped forward. "I have it," she said. Her card went through on the first tap. Cornelius looked at her. "You didn't have to do that." She did not answer the way Talia had answered. She did not have that kind of ease yet. She just nodded once and picked her basket back up. But she did not leave immediately. She stood at the end of the checkout lane and looked across the store, at the new signage above Register 7, at the employee bulletin board with the profit-sharing numbers posted, at the small framed card near the customer service desk that read in plain black text, "This store is built on people, not transactions." Talia had put that there. Celine read it twice. Then she walked to the register where a young cashier named Brixton was working the afternoon shift, set her items on the belt, and paid without a word. She drove home a different way than she had come. 6 months after the envelope landed on Talia's counter, Freshmart held a store event in the parking lot. folding tables, string lights, food from 3 local vendors, all Black-owned businesses from the surrounding neighborhood, all part of the community vendor program Talia had launched in her first 30 days on the job. Kezia Bowen ran the grill. Brixton worked the music from a speaker balanced on a folding chair. Children who had never been to a company event ran through the parking lot like they owned it, because in a small way, their families now did. The profit-sharing checks had gone out for the first time 2 weeks earlier. Not enormous numbers, but real ones. Enough for a car repair, enough for a month of groceries, enough to feel like the place where you spent 8 hours a day actually knew your name. Nabir attended for 40 minutes. He did not give a speech. He stood near the back, ate a date from a paper plate, and watched. At one point, Talia walked over and stood beside him. "You could have just told me," she said, "about the test, about all of it." He shook his head once. "A river does not drink its own water," he said. "What you gave had to be yours. No one could hand it to you and have it mean anything." She understood that. She looked out at the parking lot, at Kezia laughing too loud at her own joke, at Brixton arguing with someone about a song choice, at Cornelius sitting at a table with a plate of food and nowhere he needed to be. This had started with $47.83. It had started with a hand moving to an apron pocket before the mind could talk it out of it. It had started with one person choosing not to fold their arms. Here is the question that does not leave you easily. How many moments exactly like that one have you already passed? How many times did the moment cost less than $50 and you chose to protect what you had instead of extend what you were? Wealth flows toward trust, and trust is built in the smallest places first. In grocery lines, in parking lots, in the split second before doubt wins. Talia Raines almost let doubt win. She did not, and that one decision rippled out until it changed the lives of people who never knew her name. If this story moved something in you, drop it in the comments. Tell us about a moment when you chose to show up for someone, or when someone showed up for you. Your story might be exactly what another person needs to read today. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story like this one, because stories like Talia's keep coming, and the next one might be the one that changes how you see everything. The wallet was never forgotten. It was placed right where it needed to be.